Hey everybody, and welcome to the League of Legends patch 12.21 preview part 1. As a reminder everyone, you have part 1, which has none of the actual changes listed, part 2, which has the actual changes listed, and then part 3, which is the actual patch notes when the patch notes come out and then they're actually live. As a reminder, none of these changes will be official and none of them are actually in the game until we see them in the patch notes. They can be removed, they can be changed. Make sure you look at the actual patch notes. None of these are in the game until the patch notes are here, okay? To this day, I still see people making that mistake, even though I do this at the start of every video. So, patch is short and sweet this week. The teams is head down and making sure that preseason is at the quality level to go out the door. Really excited. Only addressing significant outliers that aren't overly affected by the changes. The Miles Rumble changes are last hit assistance. So, what they're saying here is with the preseason coming out soon, they're adding new items, they're adding new systems, they're adding new dragons, stuff like that. They don't want to be making large sweeping changes to the game unless, of course, like a champion is a statistical outlier, unless they're way underpowered or overpowered. Because, you know, with all these new things happening, a champion could be overpowered with the new changes, or they could be underpowered with the new changes. You know, you don't really know, right? So, yeah, and I do agree with that. So let's look into the actual changes themselves here. First up, we have, here we go. First up, we have Ahri. Now, Ahri's being buffed. I did look into Ahri's stats here real quick. If I look at Plat Plus and I look at Ahri, she's the 11th highest pick with a 49% win rate. Contrary to what they just said, the very first champion they're buffing, only addressing significant outliers that aren't overly affected by the changes. What I don't understand here is Ahri, you're telling me this Ahri is a statistical outlier with 49% win rate at the 11th highest pick in mid rate. This seems like a fairly normal champion. She might be a tiny little snidgy bit underpowered, and I do agree Ahri is a little bit underpowered, but is a statistical outlier, is a champion they must address right now. I don't think Ahri fits that criteria, so I'm going to be honest, I don't really understand what they're doing. And there's only 8 champions here, so I'm a bit more free to go more in depth on each of these champions they're doing. I don't really agree that Ahri's that underpowered at all, and in fact, I don't think she needs to be in the emergency buff patch. But I guess they're only doing 8 champions, so it's not a big deal, so long as they don't go too far. I think maybe like a little bit better scaling, maybe some more AoE, maybe lower cooldowns would be good. Maybe a lower cooldown on her W, I don't know. Corki is being buffed. Okay, so Corki, let's look up Corki. Corki, where are you at, buddy? Corki is way down here. This is a statistical outlier, right? This is a statistical outlier. 47th highest pick with a 46% win rate. Now, just to be clear, for anyone wondering, Corki is a sort of champion who at 46% win rate could actually end up being overpowered if he was like the #1 pick rate. At 47th pick rate, that means basically nobody other than the people who know how to play Corki are playing him, and of the people who know how to play him, they are still not winning games with him. Does everybody get that concept? Okay, so the one tricks, the few remaining people trying to play Corki are still doing bad with him. So yes, I would say, compared to everything around him, Corki is a very statistical outlier. He is very underpowered, actually. I would 100% agree with that one. Corki, he does need to be buffed. He's very underpowered right now. Malzahar is being buffed, but they did say here the Miles Rumble changes are last hit assistant. So they're only helping Malzahar last hit. I think on the PBE, it was something like his E executes minions or his Voidlings execute minions, something like that, where like, you know, if a minion is below a certain amount of health, he just automatically kills them and gets the last hit. And I think that's fine, in all honesty, because, you know, it was always really frustrating playing Malzahar, and like you'd be trying to clear a wave and you'd keep missing last hits and stuff, and it was just super annoying. It was just super annoying. So actually, I agree with that. I used to play Malzahar back in like season 1, 2, 3, not a lot, but like a little bit. I dabbled in it, okay? So it was like nearly 10 years ago, and I can still remember, like, that's the thing, I still remember how annoying it was to try to last hit with that champion sometimes. It was just really frustrating. So yeah. Xin Zhao is being buffed. Okay, so Xin Zhao is another jungler that's being buffed. I would prefer Riot, you know, maybe nerfs one of these 92 overpowered junglers, but so long as they don't want to nerf one of these 92 overpowered junglers, the issue is In the current meta, and actually, somebody read a comment that was like, I don't like Hashinshin, but it always has a pulse on the meta. And yeah, I do, because I play this game a lot. The problem is the current meta for jungle is to have strong early laners that scale into late game. And right now, since I was not a strong early game or late game champion, he's okay in the early game and in the late game. He doesn't really excel anywhere, and he got nerfed to not excel anywhere. So right now he's sitting down at 41st highest pick rate with a 48% win rate. He's bad. I don't know if I would call him like a statistical outlier, but he's not doing great. Poppy Jungle is doing much worse than Xin Zhao. So I don't know. But Xin Zhao is supposed to be a jungler. So long as they don't go too far, I think it's fine if they buff him. I would prefer maybe they buff his late game a little bit. Maybe like his health per level, armor per level. Maybe not his damage. Maybe not like his team fighting. But definitely, I think he could use a little bit of a buff for sure. And I definitely think he needs to be like a little bit tankier into the late game, because like they nerfed his ultimate duration to try to make him worse in competitive play. But in my opinion, I think it was his ult duration. Correct me if I'm wrong on this one. I don't know. I think they nerfed his ult duration to make him better, or sorry, to make him worse in team fights and like, tournament competitive play, world stuff like that. And because they did that, the problem was that made him, really not that great as a champion. Rumble is just getting last hit assistance. I used to play Rumble, I used to play Rumble up into like season 5 or 6. There's a lot of champions I stopped playing because to be honest, I kind of learned over time what champions I like and what champions I don't like. And, I used to try to kind of play Rumble, but eventually I just was like, I don't really like this champion, and I just stopped ever trying to play him, right? But when I did try to play Rumble, yes, it was really frustrating trying to last hit. A little bit of an execute on his flame spitter would be fine. Right now you try to like flame spit the wave and then auto attack the minions, but what will frequently happen is like right as you auto attack it, a caster minion will like hit it at like the perfect time. Not all the time, but like 1 out of 10 times, and it's just really frustrating. And it's never fun to have a champion whose win rate is lower, not because they're weaker, but because in some games they just lose CS off minion RNG. Like, that's not a fun way to have a champion be weaker, right? Like, if they want to buff Rumble, it'd be better to buff him in a way that doesn't he does more damage, or he's faster, or he heals more, Champions nerf Blitzcrank. Okay, Ellis tweeted, I saw this the other day, Ellis tweeted, is like, how come people are banning Blitzcrank? He's such a bad jungler. I don't understand why all the Koreans are banning Blitzcrank. And yeah, no, jungle Blitzcrank is terrible. The problem is, LS, and I don't know if he's like a real analyst even at this point, but like people are banning Blitzcrank because of support Blitzcrank. Support Blitzcrank, as I've mentioned this before, the issue with the issue with support Blitzcrank is that he takes all the jungle buffs and he goes to support, and then he just helps clear the jungle, right? And the issue is that because he can help clear the jungle, he can give the jungler a faster clear at level 1. He can help do objectives better, dragons, barons, stuff like that, right? Even Rift Herald. He can help leash in the mid game. He can help do Gromp and Krugs for his ADC. And just off that, it does raise his win rate a good chunk. So if we go back here to 12.18, Blitzcrank was 50%. So he was already balanced in the support role. Okay, he was a balanced champion, not underpowered at all. And then Riot decided to buff him for the jungle. So the problem is you take a balanced support, and a support can waste their time doing Dragon, doing Rift Herald, helping clear for their jungler, helping leash better. They can waste their time because they don't need to be in lane last hitting, right? That's their job. Their job is to support. So they made Blitzcrank really, 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 really good at supporting his laner, to helping them get the jungle, to supporting his jungler and helping get objectives, helping them at level 1. So at any way, they're nerfing Blitzcrank because this is like the 9th time this has happened, by the way. I know I've mentioned this like 5 times by now. I'm going to keep mentioning it. They had to nerf Garen after they buffed him for jungling. They had to nerf Darius after they buffed him for jungling. One of the ways they actually nerfed Aatrox back in the day is they nerfed him by nerfing his jungling. Because, shockingly, the ability to clear the jungle, the ability to do objectives, is actually more powerful than you think. Bel'Veth is getting nerfed for being one of the most broken monstrosity bullshit motherfuckers I've ever seen in my life. She should have been hotfix nerfed 12 years ago. She I think, yeah, she's still doing a little bit worse than Master Yi, but once you reach Masters Plus, she has a lot of strengths where Master Yi does not, and you can see Master Yi starts falling off in pick rate, whereas Belveth does not. She nearly gets picked twice as much as Master Yi and maintains a high win rate. She is overpowered, she is completely bullshit, she has no counterplay, she needs to be nerfed into the ground. I don't know why they just decided to make tanky Master Yi. They're just like, what if we made Master Yi, but he's really, really tanky, with a hard CC, with magic damage? I don't know, man. I don't know. I don't make this game. Lastly, they're nerfing Misfortune. Why are they nerfing Misfortune? I don't actually know. I'm gonna be dead honest. I think she's like really overpowered at the low ranks for sure, but I think the bigger issue is Kaisa. Kaisa at the high ranks has reached a 25% pick rate. Like, I know Misfortune has a bigger ban rate, but dude, why are we nerfing Misfortune and we're not nerfing Kaisa? And here's another one. Hold on here. Again, Masters Plus just doesn't have the... Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm being biased because I played Masters Plus, but I think Kaisa is a much bigger deal than Misfortune, and you can clearly see Misfortune's win rate continues to go down the higher rank you go, and her ban rate continues to go down the higher rank you go, whereas Kaisa's win rate and her pick rate continue to go up the higher rank you go. I think Kaisa is a bigger issue than Misfortune. There's also Tristana. I don't like Tristana. I think she's quite overpowered. And that's it for this patch. So make sure to like, make sure to subscribe, make sure to leave a comment down below, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this. If you guys have any thoughts on this, tomorrow we'll come back tomorrow for sure, and we'll go over the actual changes and the buffs and nerfs, and we'll see if they are light buffs like I'm hoping they are. You know, just to go over it again, I think Ari needs a light, tiny buff. Corki needs kind of a significant buff. Malzahar's fine. Zinzao could use a light buff, I think. Rumble's fine. Blitzcrank probably just needs all the jungle buffs removed. Belveth needs a hard nerf into the ground. Misfortune, I think, could use a love tap. It's a joke, but I don't think she's that overpowered. So thank you all for watching. I hope you all have a great rest of your day. Goodbye, everybody.